Oh man, I'm not crying, you're crying. When I say this scene was just one of the most emotional scenes in the entire show, oh, I mean it. Our boy MIGI was going through the ringer here. Welcome to another video of mine, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, I'm coming at you with a Miguel video. He's a Miguel fanboy. No matter what video I do, on whatever character I do, it doesn't matter. There'll always be some donut down in the comments talking stuff. Well, you're watching, so thank you for the view. Now, down to business. This scene right here was freaking incredible. I love the way the score builds to a crescendo. Miguel's on the phone with Carmen. He's had the revelation. He's put two and two together as to who his father actually is. It's such a well done scene. The performances by Sholo, by William, and by Luis, who plays Hector, is absolutely incredible. And the actors deserve a lot of accolades for the performances in said scene, but also credit to Zach and Leo for that amazing score. Credit to whoever directed this episode, because they directed the hell out of it. And in this particular moment, there's a lighting choice that I love. And, people say, nerd! Well, it's called film and TV. The people study this for a reason, okay? It's not just my opinion, it's a fact. Now, there is a lighting choice that I absolutely, really, really adore with this scene. When Miguel is talking to his father, unbeknownst to Hector, Hector has no idea this is his son. Miguel's father opens up the till, takes the money, puts a strap up on the counter, and at that moment you're like, okay, Miguel, you gotta get the hell out of Dodge. This could go sideways really badly. Like, Hector looks like he's in the mood to have a bit of a swing. You want to get out of there just in case. With that strap on the counter, like, get out of there. The whole room and the mood in the room is gloomy, it's dark, it's depressing, it's average. It feels like we're living in a space in Miguel's life where the mood and the atmosphere of the scene reflects how he is internally feeling. He feels empty. He feels dull. He feels dreary. He feels like all hope is lost. He feels heartless. He feels like the joy and the hope that maybe his father could have been someone other than a bad man was just sucked out of him. And the revelation of who his father really is and coming to terms with that in his own way, without his father learning who Miguel is, was such great writing, and I love the way that it was done. And then the minute Miguel goes outside, time will tell if Luis saw, if Hector saw any of this, if he saw Johnny and Miguel reuniting or anything like that. Time will tell. Time will tell if Hector saw a thing or two. But I love that Miguel walks outside, gets on the phone with Carmen, and we finally see a moment of vulnerability between these two characters that I would have really liked to have seen more of between Miguel and Carmen this season. I wish that relationship could have been pushed a little bit, especially when Miguel came back, just to add to the tension between Miguel and Robbie. But I would have loved to have seen that relationship pushed a little bit more, because I think this was if you were ever going to do it, this was the right time to. And having Miguel in a situation where he believes his mum is lying to him and that his dad's this great dude, and then over the course of 2 episodes he figures out, no, your father is a bad man, and there's a very good reason as to why Carmen did what she did. And the revelation that dawns on Miguel, like, you gotta think, this is Miguel after he's just abandoned the tournament, abandoned all of his friends and family, gone on a journey of self-discovery, trying to find out who he is and where he's come from, and he doesn't like the truth. The truth hits him like in the face like a wet fish. Like, it hurts. It really hurts. And I don't want to put too much of myself in this situation, but I'm sure anyone who's watching can agree. We've all been in situations where we've had a revelation that's absolutely rocked us to our core, where it's just made us question our identity, ourselves, our very being. And Miguel in this situation is questioning, oh my god, my mum was right, I abandoned my family and friends when they all needed me in the tournament to stop Cobra Kai, all that little stuff. But then there's also the big stuff where it's like, where do I go from here? How do I move forward with this new information? What's the process like now? The way I just upped and left without saying a word. How is this there's uncertainty. He doesn't quite know what's going to be the next thing. And then all of that's going through his mind. And then all you hear is, Miguel! And then the light comes in from the car. Now, bearing in mind, it is at night. And then the car light shines. Alright, okay. But to me, I see that as a symbolism. That's symbolism right there. The light arrives to give Miguel his hope again. He's literally just gone from a dark and gloomy place. It's called visual storytelling. And then the light comes onto Miguel from the car that is being driven by his real father. And I think back to the videos I did before Season 5 dropped. I said that I would be content with Miguel never finding his father. Like, I would be perfectly content with that. And that he realizes it doesn't matter who his real father is. Because his real father is coming to get him. And his real father is Johnny. And I love that Robbie isn't in this moment. We're allowed to really sort of set in this moment between Johnny and Miguel. We're allowed to really sort of hone in on it, just them two. And obviously we see Robbie afterwards, and then that shows us the dynamic going forward that, you know, it is time now for Johnny to balance both of them. But in this moment, this key scene right here, it's just between Johnny and Miguel, the two characters that we started the show with, and then we really just have a moment where Johnny and Miguel embrace, they hug as father and son, and it's just a heartwarming moment. I mean, it's tears of joy. It's just such a great watch. It hits you right in the feels every single time. The score builds to the crescendo, the light from Johnny's car shining on Miguel to relight that hope in his heart again. And then Miguel on the phone saying to his mum, I'm coming home. Like, Miguel's broken. This information has broken him. It's sent him to a different level than he would have before. You know, this is not just new information. This is potentially life-changing information for Miguel. Where does he go from here? He's going to be questioning himself. And I think we might see a bit of that in Season 6, where he might question himself just a bit, you know, how do I move forward from this kind of thing? And it will be accepting that Johnny is your father now. It doesn't matter who Hector is. Johnny is your father. And Robbie's your stepbrother. Called it! And, you know, Johnny's just your father and that's it. That's all there is to it. The scene was beautiful. I loved everything about it. And then you just think of the last time Johnny and Miguel interacted in Season 4. And then this was their first interaction since. Such a great moment. And never ever question Johnny's loyalty to his boys. He will always try and be there for Robbie. He's always willing to go above and beyond for Robbie. And the same thing with Miguel. With that dude, that surfer dude, you know, the yo dude, you broke my board dude, yo. With that guy who totally didn't sound like that, he was just more of, you know, oh, what sort of monster do you think I am? That kind of monster. The way Johnny threatens him was as if, okay, you better tell me where my son went, or I'm gonna beat your ass. Like, that's basically what Johnny was communicating there. That's proper dad energy right there. But guys and girls, let me know what you thought of this scene. Let me know how much it got you in the feels. And again, you know, I do like to preface this. I really, not preface, I put it out there. I do like to put it out there, even though I really shouldn't have to. Just because I've done videos on certain characters does not mean I do not like other characters. I'm not like most fans that just go on TikTok and just say, oh, I stan this team or this character. I give you reasoning and understanding as to why characters do the things they do and how they get to those places. And in this video, I've talked about Miguel and how he's feeling in the moment and where he can go from here, the questions that he could ask himself going forward, what that might set up for his future character arc, and how he evolves from this point going forward. And as I've always said, there's so many characters in this show that are great. You know, Daniel, Chosen, Robbie, Hawk, they're all great. But Miguel is the heart of the show. He always has been, from day one. Miguel was always a good dude that never meant any ill will or harm to anybody. And this scene is very representative of that. And in his darkest moment, his darkest hour, all Miguel needed was a hug.